My name is Jennifer Smith, and I am founder and CEO of the Giving Closet Project. The birth of the Giving Closet Project actually just started with noticing an increase in student homelessness. A lot of my students were no longer just living in the shelters, expanded into wooded encampments and hotels, motels, and even their vehicles. And so what started as a passion project to start taking unclaimed, lost, and found clothing from schools, I found a way to repurpose it and give it back to those in need. The reason we got into uniforms is because half of the schools require uniforms. And if kids don't have the proper uniforms, they're not going to be able to go to school. So it's about 50-50. 50% of the schools are uniform, 50 aren't. But as the years have gone on, it seems like every year there's another school or two that are making uniforms a requirement, where before it was an option. Not having uniforms absolutely will affect a child and the family. For a lot of families, when they're getting their supply list, which is already going to probably cost $500 to $600 per student, when you're struggling already trying to get the school supplies, now you add the expense for uniforms on top of it. A lot of families are having to make some decisions about whether or not they're going to eat that week. So when students go to school without a uniform, and they're told they can't come in, they're going home. A lot of students actually will go home, and because their parents can't afford a uniform, they may miss the first week or 2 weeks of school. And to me, that's not an option. And if the family can't do anything about it, there has to be help community-wise where we can step in and help, and that's what we do. But, the other thing too, it's not just about having the uniforms. Some of the families that are able to get the uniforms, if they only have one, because that's all they could afford, then you run into the problem of this student now wearing just that one uniform over and over and over again, to the point where they might be asked to leave the classroom and get sent to the nurse's office and get a call home. And we've seen that. And then the bullying increases because they might have had a stain on their shirt since last Monday, and they're going to school wearing that same shirt. The kids pick up on that. And so definitely hygiene plays a huge role with the uniforms as well. Oh my goodness. So the Giving Closet Project has grown so much in just the 5 short years. Now we are serving Duval County and Palm Beach County school districts. And honestly, when we had first started, we originally wanted to have little closets in every single school. However, with schools being overcrowded, we knew we would have to pivot and figure out something different. So we ended up creating an online referral form. So teachers, counselors, social workers, case managers, and even now we are providing for social service agencies such as Daniel Kids and Children's Home Society. And we're getting an average around 100 referrals a week, pre-K through 12th grade. And we fill them right here at our district hub at MLK Elementary. So every care package comes with about a week's worth of clothing. A lot of it is new. Some of it, the used clothing, is all washed. And then we give 2 pairs of shoes, a month's worth of hygiene products, school supplies, backpacks, and masks. PSM and the Giving Closet Project actually were both chosen by the University of North Florida for a PR campaign where the students, a group of students in a cohort, did a huge project to help us with social media, and it created an entire PR campaign. So that was 3 years ago, and Terry and I actually met at one of the presentations. It was actually for PSMJax, and from there, the relationship blossomed. I went out and did a tour, learned more about the work that they were doing in the community, end up meeting Neil, and that's how it started. It kind of just blossomed organically, and over time, he would be like, do you want some more uniforms? It was going maybe from twice a year we would get stuff, and then it was, we talk to PSM weekly now, and we are picking up at least once a month, and I could say, honestly, we're probably estimating about $250,000 worth of new uniforms. And what I really love about PSM is that when we expanded to Palm Beach, even though they're here local in Jacksonville, I asked them, I was like, we have a need for the uniforms in Palm Beach. Is it okay if we share? They didn't even hesitate. They said absolutely. So PSM, this partnership, has helped us expand our reach into the Palm Beaches as well. For what's coming in, It's always done through a spreadsheet. Neil will go ahead and get that emailed to me and let me know. And I mean, we save that obviously for our records. And then as for what goes out, I mean, we have our online referral. So we save every referral that comes in, and we end up doing reports monthly on how many students we're serving. And just since July 15th, we've served over 700 youth in Duval County alone. In Palm Beach, just over 500. If PSM didn't exist, it would honestly just have to be a little bit harder work on our part, building those retail partnerships, and then also working on grants that are solely just to purchase uniforms. And before PSM, all of our new stuff was through grants. We would have to purchase a lot of the items, but due to this partnership, we definitely can utilize those funds elsewhere instead of having to purchase those and fill in the gaps of the stuff that we run out of constantly, like new socks and underwear, shoes, the hygiene products. I would say absolutely put your money towards the initiative of helping with warehouse space or even a delivery truck, because I mean right now, I mean their capacity, they're not able to make deliveries, and yes, they pick up, but it's really hard for us being a small grassroots organization. I mean, all these deliveries are great, but I mean, we're also having to rent cargo vans and rent box trucks with lift gates to go pick up the inventory on a regular basis. So it's a struggle, and I feel like if people support PSM to help them, you know, expand their capacity, that's going to help us in the long run too. You know, a dream of ours is to have shared warehouse space one day. You know, I have to believe that in our city and with all the commercial buildings that are just sitting empty and have been sitting empty for years, that there's a way for us to come together to obtain warehouse space. You know, when shipments are coming in, I'm always trying to help them find some space where we could take it in, because if we can find a place to take in all the orders or the donations, then we can share them and get them out to people who need them most. Yeah. And that's definitely been one of our struggles. You know, it's really tough knowing that we have an opportunity to bring in 30 pallets of something and we don't have a place to offload. Yeah. So it's a struggle, but we're working on it. As it comes to referrals that are coming in for students, you know, before when we first started, they were only coming in from teachers and social workers. And then as the word's gotten out about our services, we're getting referrals from family liaisons, case managers, social workers, even after school providers, Jacksonville's Parks and Rec. We've expanded our reach to the Kids Hope Alliance. You know, when we had that mask donation, we were able to get masks out within a 2-day window, 20 pallets to 72 after school providers. But then you have the other social service agencies that are sending in requests. You have the Children's Home Society, Daniel Kids, Child Guidance Center. We have FIT, the Department of Families in Transition at the school district. And as the word gets out, there's more and more social service agencies that reach out and want to learn how to utilize our online referral. It's knowing that there's a resource out there where teachers and counselors and stuff, I mean, being a former teacher for 15 years, I can tell you firsthand how many times I have gone and provided or bought new shoes or bought a jacket or bought a uniform for one of my students. And I'm not the only one. There's plenty of other teachers out there that are still doing this. You know, this is why it's so important to continue, you know, nurturing these relationships. And, you know, honestly, when PSM and the GCP joined forces with, you know, tackling the uniform issues, we've been able to serve so many more students. And it's really hard to narrow it down to just one family or one story in particular, because the number of people who have reached out and just said thank you, or have broken down crying just in tears of joy because they found out about this resource for them. The pandemic has definitely taken a toll for many of our youth and families. You know, the needs have just increased, whether it's food, clothing, or even services beyond that. We're trying to connect people with other additional resources within the community, but what we've noticed is just a huge increase for food, uniforms, socks and underwear. I mean, all the basic essentials. You know, when you think basic needs, clothing, food, and shelter, these are the youth and families that we're working with. And on the referrals that come in, I mean, they do share some of their struggles with us. You know, it might have been a situation, a house fire, could have been a quick move or loss of a job. I mean, there's so many families right here in Duval County that are one paycheck away from being homeless. I think as the needs throughout the community have grown, you know, whether it's the Recovery Act money, I do think a lot of agencies are hiring more case managers, more social workers, and as more support service workers are coming on board, our referrals are increasing because they're expanding their reach within the neighborhoods and the communities. So, I mean, it's the domino effect. Just my passion for helping others and working with the kids and seeing the need. I mean, knowing there's a need out there that's not being met, it's heartbreaking. And, you know, it's meeting the wonderful case managers and working with the other social service agencies and knowing that our services and programs are desperately needed right now. I don't think we'll be going anywhere anytime soon. So.